So many of us have a midweek rehearsal, maybe on a Wednesday night or on a Thursday night, where we run through the songs for the Sunday morning service. But what if you have someone that doesn't come to rehearsal? Do they still get to play on Sunday? Hey, it's Dave Dolphin at practicalworshipblog.com, sharing ideas, tips, and practical advice for the everyday worship leader. And recently I saw this question. It says, how do you deal with those that do not frequently come to practice but still expect a chance to sing or play for that day? That's a really great question. It's a very common question. And for us, the general rule is no Thursday, no Sunday. But like Andy Stanley says, some things are a problem to solve and some things are a tension to manage. And this is definitely an area where it's a little bit more difficult to have a hard and fast rule. There's actually been many times where I let someone play on a Sunday that didn't come to rehearsal on Thursday. What that normally looks like for us is someone will contact me earlier, maybe call me or text me and say, hey, I have this conflict. I can't be there on Thursday. Here's why. Do you still want me to play? So some of the things that are running through my mind when I'm trying to make the decision of whether or not that person should play on Sunday without the rehearsal is this person going to come on Sunday prepared, or do they need the rehearsal to get ready? Now, part of this is a skill question. Part of this is, do they have the competency within their instrument that they can prepare on their own and come to Sunday ready to go? Or do they need the reps of a rehearsal to get comfortable with the material and be ready? So part of that skill, but also part of that is experience. They might be very skilled, but do they know the context? Do they know the songs? Do they know the structure? Do they know this band? Do they have the experience to know how to prepare? I know I've walked into situations where I thought I was ready. I came into rehearsal and then I realized, oh, I didn't study that part of the song, or oh, I didn't realize I needed to bring those kinds of sticks. And so I was glad to have the rehearsal to learn those things to be that much more ready for Sunday. So part of this is a skill question, but part of it is an experience question as well. But the second question I ask myself is, will that person be missed? Meaning, if that person isn't at rehearsal, what does that mean for the rest of the band? Can they still have a successful rehearsal? For example, I will almost never let a drummer play on Sunday that can't be there on Thursday. And it's not that I don't have stellar drummers that will come to rehearsal prepared. It's that I need the drums to have a successful rehearsal. Without the drums, it's really difficult to get a lot done in that rehearsal process. But if someone's scheduled to sing melody and some gang vocals, plugging them in on Sunday isn't that difficult. And it's not that their part isn't important, but the band, the arrangement, the rehearsal doesn't hinge on that person being present in the rehearsal. Something else I consider is who else is out. If I have one person that's out, maybe two for a rehearsal, it still can be successful and be effective. But if this is now the third person to say, hey, I can't be there, I might switch that person out who I would otherwise say that would be okay because I know they have the skill set and the experience. But then I've been known to do something a little bit more drastic, like change the time and the day of the rehearsal. Again, some things are a problem to solve and some things are a tension to manage. Now, in some cases, I've actually been known to pre-record parts. For example, I used to have an electric guitar player that worked the night shift, or a worship leader that taught a class one semester on a Thursday evening. And so what I would do is I would connect with them earlier in the week and I would track their parts. We'll work with them on arrangements and things like that, but I would put that into Ableton Live. And the benefit of that is I would send it out one specific channel and we could send it down to front of house in a way that was very, very close to what they would normally give us on a Thursday evening. So they weren't present in the room on a Thursday evening, but they kind of were through Ableton Live, and that's been very effective. Now, I want to address a nuance of this question, and that the person expects to play, and that probably needs to be addressed with the person. If you set the standard that rehearsal is important, then that needs to be across the board. Not to say that you don't make exceptions or bend the rules as the situation warrants, but for that person to blow off rehearsal and for you to allow that, it sends the message to the rest of the team that rehearsal really isn't that important, and it begins the slippery slope. When you talk with that team member, tell them that what they bring to the team is important. It has a value. People tell me all the time, don't worry about me. I'm going to come prepared. I'll have everything ready. And I say, I have no doubt, but that's not it. It's that I need you present at the rehearsal. The rest of the band needs to know what you're going to do, and you need to know what they're going to do as we build these arrangements. In order to have an effective rehearsal, I need everybody there. But if they're not willing to give up their Thursday evening for the benefit of the team, I'm probably not going to schedule that person again in the future, even if I have to go without, because I would rather have an incomplete band with people that are committed and have hearts of gold versus a complete band filled with people that have bad attitudes and think rehearsal is below their pay grade. Now, you might ask the person why they can't come. They might have a situation they feel that they can't change that you might be able to help. For example, they might say, I need someone to watch my kids, and you might be able to arrange childcare for that person during the Thursday night rehearsals. But if you have someone that just has a bad attitude and feels that they're just too good for rehearsal, that attitude is toxic and it has to go. Now, if your culture isn't this way right now, but you want it to be, just draw a line in the sand. Just decide today that this is how it's going to be. Send an email, maybe set up a meeting and explain to the team, this is the new expectation and here's the why. But just draw a line in the sand and say, today this starts. Now, I would expect some kickback, and that's normal, but stick to your guns. But having the expectation to have your worship team come to a midweek rehearsal is not an unrealistic expectation. If you feel that's what your church and your ministry needs to bring the quality that you feel is necessary and appropriate for your situation. Well, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Every single Tuesday, we share ideas and tips and practical advice for the everyday worship leader with videos just like this one. So if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you know someone that might benefit from this information, consider sharing the link on Facebook or Twitter or send somebody an email. And for great practical advice, check out practicalworshipblog.com.